Um, I I always try to like let the guys know and gals when they come on. I think who did I have on last time? Um, Austin Carr had it on, and then when he turned it, it did nothing. So I was pretty excited when Justin turned his, and it actually worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Lamar, Shaw, and Justin here. First times being on the channel, very excited. Lamar, obviously, you and Jared competed at the Warrior Classic, and
Yeah.
that was a little bit ago, but not too far ago.
Yeah, we did. It was three shows.
3 shows.
Did this year together.
Okay. Okay. So and Jared, you did. I thought it was. Did you do just 3 shows this year, or was it 4?
I've just done 3 so far.
3. So you guys did the Boston, the Houston, and the Warrior together.
That's right.
Wow. That's crazy. Walk me through like how your guys' seasons have been going. And Jared, you talked about your leg a little bit. We can talk about that.
You want to start it, Jared, or?
Sure. I mean, I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, guys. So I actually turned pro in 2021 at the Junior USA's. And I decided to choose, I chose the Boston Pro as my pro debut, which was a great show, guys. It was an absolutely awesome show, an amazingly promoted show. The stage was awesome. The promotion, the production was awesome. I think that's the main reason why I chose to do that show, because I really, really loved how they put the athletes in the spotlight, and how they really, really put the athletes first. So it was an amazing show. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. My family had a lot of fun. I didn't do so great. You know, I got 9th at that one, or did I get 7th at that one? I can't remember. I didn't do so great at that one. I got second call outs, but yeah, seventh at that one. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, I learned a lot. I met a lot of good people like Shaw. You know, I met a lot of good people along the way, and I learned a lot. So the biggest thing was I wanted to, you know, prove myself. I wanted to prove that I could get into the top 5, you know, in my rookie season. So I decided to go on to Houston Tournament of Champions. And Houston was a great show. I got to meet Darwin Uribe, who's an amazing athlete. Tommy Clark, you know, all those guys there. I met a lot of guys there. Damian Patrick. I got to see Johnny. I got to see a lot of good guys there. And had a great time with all of them. But, you know, once again, you know, I still needed a lot of improvements. I still needed to make some serious changes. So I talked to Bill Sylvia, who's a great guy as well. And he gave me good advice after every single show. He judged me at every single show this year. And after Texas, he said, hey, man, like, I really, really like what you did between Boston and Texas, but you got to turn it up. Like, you need more size, you need more conditioning, you need to bring it in. So for the Warrior Classic, you know, I went crazy, man. I went absolutely crazy. My volume went really, really crazy. I had 2 weeks to improve between those 2 shows. So I was able to actually increase the volume to my legs, increase the volume to my arms, and come in a little bit tighter as well. And Bill told me at the Warrior Classic, he said, you know, we're proud of you. Like, this is exactly what we want to see. But now it's time for you to take some time off, you know, or he didn't say I had to take time off, but he said it's time to put on some size. He said, you've proven to us what you can do with where you're at right now. Now it's time to put on some size. He said, you don't have to take a year off. He said, you know, just take some time, come in a little bit bigger, and then, you know, we'll go from there. So that was basically the plan, but I ended up spraining my quad about 2 weeks ago. I sprained my quad doing hack squats. Basically, guys, I made a silly decision to choose to do too much weight. It was unnecessary at that point in prep for me to be doing that kind of weight. But the first 2 reps were really, really good, very, very easy. And then as I went down for the 3rd rep, my quad just completely gave out, and I just went all the way down. Thankfully, I was able to walk, like literally walk right after the injury. I took my shirt off and I wrapped it around the quad to, you know, keep the swelling down. And we went to the local hospital, local patient first there. And basically what we found out is that it's a small, very partial tear that's basically in the quad tendon that goes into the patella. So it's like at the bottom of the quad. The bottom of the quad, you can see most of the swelling like on my vastus medialis, like the middle of the quad, or like the teardrop area, like the teardrop area and the vastus. glasses. I forgot the word. That's not good personal training, but it's the middle quad, middle quad in the medius. So basically, with that, I started using TB 500 and BPC 157 for the first time. Those healing peptides.
Okay.
And we are going to make a good amount of progress. Like I said, it's been 2 weeks. So now I'm able to actually squat with my knee over my toe. With body weight, I'm able to, do walking lunges and things like that now. I can go up and down the stairs, thank God. That was a long time before I could go all the way up and down the stairs, most of that 2 weeks. But with that being said, I do intend on putting actual weight on the quad this week coming forward. I was able to do some successful machine movements with legs this past weekend, so that was pretty good. So I'm excited to take it very, very, very slowly and very easily because it is still swollen and it does still ache. But try to start putting some weight on. I haven't lost too much too much size in my legs. I haven't lost too much size in my legs yet. So actually, I don't think I've lost really any size at all because I have been able to kind of hold on. It's only been 2 weeks, thankfully. So, I think that I can actually pick up from here and maybe start to make some progress, all around. But in a nutshell, that's my story, guys, this year. And I appreciate it, man.
Okay. So I have a bad hamstring now, and I noticed I can't really feel when the contractions. It feels different on each leg. Is that something you've noticed with your quad? Is if the contractions feel a little different, or is it actually healing?
Yeah, because it's when I can flex this leg at 100%, but I feel it in my knee now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the still, the swelling's still pretty bad, so it's it just doesn't feel the same in the two quads at all.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad it's healing. Shoot, not ideal for someone who wants to get on prep.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I'm not afraid to pull out completely from prepping this year if it's absolutely necessary. If it comes to the point where, I am losing size in my legs or anything like that, or I'm not able to put on size in my legs, it does seem like it would be a better idea to just wait until 2023 to continue. But I'm kind of I have a good feeling about, if I'm able to get back on stage this year.
Okay. Well, good. All right. Any idea, you said September timeframe?
Yeah, man. Originally, I wanted to do the Savannah Pro.
Okay.
That's going to be hard to pull off. If I am able to train my legs this week, that's doable, but that's a hard one. So we'll see about that. But I'm going to say it like this. Every show in the United States between now and the Olympia qualifying ending of 2022 is on my radar. Every single one of them.
Okay. All right. Cool. Someone who doesn't need to qualify for this year's Olympia, Lamar Shaw. Like I said earlier, welcome to the show. Walk us through your post-win recap and what you've been doing, enjoying a little bit of an off season, and then now going full speed, at least soon, 20 weeks out.
Yeah. So I'll start with Boston. I went into that one, I'm a confident person, but, just knowing the lineup, who was coming. Sure. And I know me and Jared, we was talking a lot in the DMs because I know at that time, Breon was supposed to be doing the show after the Arnold. So I'm like, okay, there goes one spot gone. But he pulled out and a few other people. But nonetheless, I mean, I know everybody there, put their work in, did their thing. I got fourth at Boston. In my mind, a controversial third. I can respect the other two places, the Miracle Bear and then Tony first and second. But I felt like third would have been more down my lane. So then we went into Houston, and that show to me, honestly, I don't know if you agree, Jared, but I feel like the competition there was, I don't know, a little bit harder.
It was a different level.
Yeah, between Darwin, it was Tommy, and then also
bro, you were in the lineup. I mean, all y'all guys.
Yeah,
you had Damian Patrick.
Man. Yeah, I feel like that lineup was a little bit tougher.
Crazy.
But yeah, so I got third at that show, which was after the scorecards, knowing that I was 1 point away from second. Obviously, second isn't a goal, but I'm like, damn, I was right there behind the Olympian. So that right there had lit me up. So we ran right into the Warrior Classic. At that time, man, I mean, again, not taking anything away from the other competitors, but I've done everything. I checked all the boxes off. I paid all my dues. I knew it was my time.
I do agree with that as well. I saw that.
My coach, Chris Aceto, the technician, he knew it too. So like checking in with him, it's different. So I'm like, giving him feedback in between prejudging and finals, and he's just so short and blunt with it. He said, "Lamar, you had nothing to worry about." It was like, okay. So we just go to the room, relax for a second. The venue and the hotel is walking distance. So went in there, man, did our thing, and we pulled it off. Very emotional moment. Been chasing this Olympia thing for what? It's been a few years, because I went pro in 2018. 2019, my pro debut was complete nonsense. I'm over in the West Coast competing against Arash and all these other Olympians. I had no business over there, but learning process and just figuring my ins and outs and things like that. But yeah, man, exciting win. I got to enjoy myself a little bit, but knowing my body and needing to be on point, be on more than off. I took about 8 weeks off, completely cleaned the system out. And we started prep 6 weeks ago, actually. So it's going to be a long journey ahead of me. But again, my mindset is good. My body is good. And I didn't allow myself to get out of whack as far as my body weight. Because normally I'll start prep 250, 255, and prepping down to 215 is like cardio. The diet is crazy. So now I've allowed myself to be in a better position so I can get it done. But yeah, so we started 6 weeks ago, cardio, 100%, step counts, training, everything, recovery. I'm just making sure that I'm leaving no stone unturned. I'm treating every week like 4 weeks, like it's right there, because I mean, it's the biggest show. And then my coach, he's not the one to give like motivational speeches and things like that, but he reached out one workout, and he said a few things to me that just kind of, it was just is off. So he believes in me, I believe in me, and I got a pretty decent support system. So I'm excited, man. I'm just trying to go in there and do the best that I can. I'm not gonna say anything off the wall because it's Olympia, because everybody's there is true potential, and they're gonna bring their best as well. So I'm gonna do the best I can, 100%, pedal to the metal. Yeah.
Yeah, bring your best package to the Olympia, see where the cards lie, and then wherever you go from there, see next year, what's gonna happen for next year. And
and I will add in this too. So and this is just me being self-aware. My conditioning gets there on the front, but I still lack on the back.
okay.
And that's only because again, I feel like I need longer preps, because when I push hard in cardio and diet, it works good for some people, but my body just plateaus or just start fighting back. So I'll end up being good in my weight 1 week, then the next week I'll shoot up some crazy amount. So we're going to go the slow, methodical route. And from all the judges, the front is first call out potentials. I do believe that, the shape, the symmetry, the size, but now I have to translate that to the back. And I believe if I do that, that'll give me a higher chance of doing decent in the Olympia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was looking at this photo. I didn't think, looking at it, I don't see, besides a little bit of the skin fold on the lower lat, like, I mean, looks pretty sharp to me.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing. So Bill, what Jared was just mentioning about, he's judged all 3 of those shows. So that did help.
Okay.
I do a ton of rack pulls. I do a ton of hyperextension. So it's there, but I think it's like to the point, something has to go when you're dieting. So I feel like that was one of them, because normally my arms which they still did. They shrivel up, but I feel like now my lower back kind of took that place, and it, you know, shrunk in as well, because we did you know, pulling water and things like that. It kind of drew in the muscle more than we needed to, but the lower lats are there, but they just need to be fuller. So the goal right now is to prioritize that, arms, shoulders, and just a few other areas. But I think overall conditioning will make my physique pop a lot more than this photo here. Yeah, but I was happy with it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're happy with it. Olympia qualification, you know, big deal. So, you know, I'm happy for you. We're all excited for you. Justin, I've been following you, man, since 2019, maybe 2018. I remember seeing you competing in NPC. So, coming into your pro debut, the Texas Pro in 2020.
Battle of Texas.
Battle Texas. Sorry. Battle Texas in 2020. Walk us through how you felt about that, and you know, what have you been up to since then?
Yeah. So, well, first off, good morning to everyone. I
Morning.
didn't probably say hi when I hopped in the chat a little bit late. So yeah, I turned pro in 2019 at NPC Universe. Took the rest of that year off, and I think I was planning to take 2020 off, to be honest with you, just because of the whole COVID stuff. And I wanted to, if I was going to compete, it was going to probably be like mid-year, but everything got started getting canceled and whatnot. Around the summertime, my coach and I were like, okay, like let's potentially have a show in mind for late 2020, early 2021. And Battle of Texas was like the one and only show I think that like popped up, and we're like, all right, it's in Texas. It's probably not going to get canceled. They'll keep everything open there.
Yeah.
So we prepped for that. That was my pro debut. I got 8th out of there was like 30 something guys in the show.
Yeah.
Pretty big show. So that was cool. It was, you know, for being a pro debut. And then I took off from after for the rest of the year. It was December, so I took off until probably about July. I was like, you know, bulking and whatnot, so kind of like recomped and whatnot. And then we said, okay, we're gonna aim for some shows at the end of 2021, try to get an early qualification for 2022. We did Texas State Pro, so that is the name of the show I did second, Texas State Pro.
Okay.
That was so yeah, Battle Texas is from Battle Up Productions, and then Texas State is from Galvanize. So one was in like Dallas area, and then one's in Texas State was in Austin, Texas. So both of those shows were run super, super beautifully. I encourage everyone to like do a Texas show if they haven't already. They're run really, really well. Kind of what Jared was saying about Boston. Like Texas was really, really cool too. So I did that show. I got 3rd behind Donkave, and then also Medi. He won the show. And then a week later, I went to do Atlantic Coast in Florida.
Yep.
And my body just shit the bed. My body just wasn't like responding the way it normally would, and I was just like getting so depleted and flat. Because the feedback from Texas was get a little bit tighter from the rear and a bit bigger. I mean, I wasn't going to get much bigger in 6 days. I think Texas State was on Saturday, and then Atlantic Coast was the following Friday. It was a day up, so the pros went Friday, and then the NPC, it was a pro-am, so the amateurs went Saturday. Wow. So I had like very minimal time. It was like literally right off stage going into peak week again. And, you know, we kind of just like depleted a little too hard. And then on show day, you know, I was dicey, but it wasn't really like showing too well. Like, yeah, you could kind of see like my legs coming really, really short, but up top look really, really flat. Doesn't really translate too well. At this show at Texas the week before, that was probably my best showing to date. But then like this one, I kind of, like I said, just was like flat and just wasn't popping too much. And I remember my girlfriend and Martin Fitzwater, he was there.
Okay.
And they were running me cookies backstage. Like literally I would go on stage for like, you know, you guys know how it works. So like go on stage, you do your first comparison, then you hop off stage, and then like you go on and do your individual routine, then you hop off stage, then they bring you back on for the call out. So like literally after all those, like my girlfriend and Martin are like shoving cookies down my throat because they're like, you're so damn flat.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get more pop to you. And it worked. It brought me back to life a little bit. But the guy who had beat me at that show had placed like 7th or 8th the week before in Texas. So I, like, you know, he got a little bit better. I got a good amount worse. And on that day, he beat me out and he won. So I got second at that show. So 3rd and 2nd. So not too bad. And then we said, be quiet, guys. Shh, my bad. I got dogs. So if they start barking, I apologize.
I got cats. They're meowing too.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe the cats are a little bit louder than dogs. Not just kidding.
I don't know.
But you know, so we went into the off season thinking like, okay, like we're gonna make a run for 2022. You know, given the fact that we got 3rd, we got 2nd, we have some Olympia points. There were some tough lineups. In April, I tore my meniscus. So that kind of set me back. You know, Jared, what you were saying about your quad. I encourage you to check out, because I didn't go to TB route or the BPC. I ended up using class 4 laser treatment from my local chiro. It's actually like this like infrared laser. It's non-invasive. And it's a little bit pricey, but they localize it to the area. And think of it as like, you know, you probably heard of like PRP. Yeah, be quiet. Probably heard of PRP before. And it's similar to PRP, like we're shoving a lot of blood and nutrients, but it's making your body kind of shove them to that area. So I did like 6 treatments of that, and I shit you not, I think it like completely fixed my meniscus, like honestly. So I had to take like, you know, a month and a half off, a month off legs, maybe a little bit more, because I didn't want to go down the surgery option. And as soon as my knee started to feel better, I strained my pec. So I got an MRI on that. They didn't come back as it was torn. It was pretty good strain. So I had to take, you know, like a month off for chest training. So like I was like off and on for like 2.5 months with my training. I didn't go like too far south in that time period just because I was still like dieting and whatnot and trying to do cardio. But I view that as like a time where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let myself rest a little bit. I'm not gonna like, you know, push the training too hard. You know, I'm feeling better, thankfully, but it's not, you know, we're not going to really make a run this year. It's not worth it. To be honest with you, I wasn't able to grow properly. Right now, I've gotten to like the biggest point I have been size wise with the lines I do, but we just don't see it fit to go into a rushed prep for a show that's probably like, you know, you guys mentioned some shows last minute, probably like 18, 16, 17 weeks out. Just like I'd have to start prep like now. It just doesn't make sense for us. We'd rather kind of like, you know, rest up and maybe do something you know, next year, like early next year. So that'll be like Boston, like you guys kind of did some earlier shows this year. That's the plan. I've never done early shows in the year. I've always kind of waited till like summer and fall. So I'm like, okay, maybe the switch up will be good, you know? So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now with, you know, with what's going on.
Okay.
Justin, I really appreciate you talking about laser, man, because my chiropractor actually pulled me aside when I was at the gym the other day, and he was like, yeah, I want to, you know, get you started with the laser this week. So I was actually talking to him on Monday, but man, I didn't know anything about it until you explained that.
Yeah, so class 4 laser. Well, listen, they have a bunch of different classes for it. Class 4 is just the most updated version. You know, like how they have like version 1, version 2, version 3, right? So like this is class 4. So I guess like class 1 was the very first of its kind, and then they've progressed everything. So yeah, I like I said, I saw a local chiro to me. It was recommended from a friend who's a chiro who doesn't live around me. He's like, yo, like, I really want you to find a chiro near you that does this laser treatment. I truly believe it's going to help you. And like, he's got nothing to benefit off of sending me to a chiro near me, you know what I mean, to get the lasers. Not like he's trying to, the money ain't going to him, right? You know what I mean? So he's like, I really think this is going to help you. And yeah, I had 6 treatments, and they're like 15 minutes long. And I genuinely think that like I have no knee pain in that knee now. If I tore it, like it was bad. Like I couldn't walk. I was swollen shit for like, for like a couple weeks. Like it was very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, sharp pain every step I would take. And once I started doing this, like literally after the first session, I had a little bit of relief. But then, like after the second and third session, I'm like, oh wow, like I'm starting to feel really good. And then by the sixth session, I was like, this is really good. And 6 is what he recommended. I'm not sure what your guy will recommend to you. I mean, if you have access to like doing it for a pretty reasonable price, it might be worth it to kind of do it a little bit more often. But just think about it too. Like if you have a muscular strain or a muscular tear or whatever you kind of mentioned, it's more inclined to heal quicker than like a meniscus tear or a tendon tear, something where like blood flow to the area is a bit tougher, right? So like you might only need 3, 4, and you've been rehabbing it yourself. You said with the TB and feels a little bit better, but I do think you should look into the laser. I think it's super like beneficial, honestly. Yeah, really.
Man, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him on Monday about that because he didn't even like explain it. He was just like, you have to come and do it. But like I said, hearing you explain it like pretty thoroughly, like it just makes me, I feel pretty good going into there. You know what I'm saying?
At the time, you're probably like, oh, you're just trying to like, sell me on.
I mean, he's like a good guy, so like I knew it was good, but like I had no idea, how good it was.
Yeah, until you hear from another competitor who's had a similar like injury or issue, and like you can kind of reconfirm what he's saying. You know what I mean? Because at first I'm like, the fuck is this little
what's it gonna do?
red laser? It looks like a microphone they're putting on your body and they're going back and red laser. What's this gonna do? But I don't know. It worked pretty well, So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, you gotta try that.
Did it hurt at all, or was it like did you feel it?
You don't feel it. It feels a little warm because it's a laser. So, but it's non-invasive. Like I said, it's not like a laser like you touched the stovetop where it's that hot. Like it's not uncomfortable. It's fine. I don't know what the science is. I don't know. So I'm not going to even talk like I'm, like I know what exactly the science is, but they explained it a little bit and how like really it like gets the area, and think of it the same way as like a cryo, where like you hop into that chamber, or if it's a cryo, I always say cryo, if it's a cryo gun, what they're doing is they're inflaming that area so blood like kind of goes away from it, and when it goes away, everything just shoots back into the area. You know what I mean? Like it shoots back into the area, and essentially, like I think BPC and TB are kind of, from what I understand about those peptides, trying to allow your body and like I remember looking it up because I was gonna do it, like I said, and then this was recommended. I'm like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot, right? You know what I mean? I'll just go to this Cairo. But essentially, this thing is like driving nutrients, and that's why I mentioned PRP. PRP injections, plasma-rich platelet injections. So it's a similar concept, just non-invasive, where like the PRP, they'll inject it into the area, and it'll drive the blood there. This is just like, it just drives the blood there. I don't know the science behind it, so I'm not even gonna act smart, but it very much so helped me. You know what I mean? Seriously.
Is it this, like, which one of these weird devices are we talking about here?
So, wait, go down with the thing. Wait, no, don't scroll. Yeah, like anything of those that look like a flashlight.
Okay. And they just put it on the skin. And
yeah, but this doesn't really do it justice because it's hooked up to a big machine. It looks a lot more comprehensive than it is. Okay. You see,
type in like red light therapy laser.
Type in class 4. Class 4. Class 4. Okay. Yeah. So that box looking thing, that like any one of those really, it's like that. Like look, go on. Yeah, right there. Yep, the one you're about to click on. Like that is kind of what it looks like. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah. Looks a little bit more official than the flashlight.
Yeah. Well, apparently you can buy some knockoffs, but I don't think they really do.
Yeah, I don't know. Knockoffs are called knockoffs for a reason,
This thing was like, like $15K apparently, the Cairo set, the pricey equipment, but it really, really helps. So like,
yeah,
I can attest to that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, when I heard you talking about your quad issue, I was going to bring that up, but I was like, I'll just bring it up after when I bring up the meniscus thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, like I really, really appreciate that. Like,
yeah,
very thoroughly.
to help you. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. Yeah.
Okay. Did you guys have any clients do the USAs?
I didn't have anybody this year.
No.
No, I had some people do Universe.
Oh, okay. That was a good show. Wow.
Yeah, Universe was good. I saw USA's was pretty good too. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It looked really good. Like the shapes were incredible this year. Like the shapes of the bodybuilders, the classic guys, even the men's physique guys, like had crazy shapes.
I like the direction that bodybuilding is heading back towards, what I can see on a local level, and maybe, I guess, as well as a professional level. Like, sure, the guys at the tip top, you know what I mean, are established, even though the look is a little bit different. But I kind of like this aesthetic look. I mean, we all classic physique for a reason, right? So we can admire a big body that with a pretty shape, you know, kind of like a Derek Lunsford. When you look at Derek, you're like, that guy's not blown out by any means in his midsection. He's got crazy lines, you know, it's super aesthetic. So you're seeing a lot of these guys that just look, you know, really, really aesthetically pleasing with the size and the muscle. And a lot of them might have to do classic when they get to the pro ranks, just based on their weight and stuff like that. Because, you know, bodybuilding in the pro ranks, you know, you see these guys. I guarantee, I don't know about you two, right? Lamar and Jared, but like we're backstage with our classic boys, at least quiet, Bubba. You know, we're probably thinking, my one dog's going a little nuts, sorry. We're probably, everyone's ears okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking, man, I'm small as shit compared to a lot of these people.
Yeah, that's why I think we should.
even our fellow classic people, I'm like, man, these guys are big. And then you see the open guys, you're like, damn, these guys are really, really big. You know, you know, it's a little bit different, but it's cool to see these like aesthetic looking bodies. You know, pretty shaped, like you were saying, and condition and some size. This guy looks really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Bodybuilder.
Him and then the guy Nate. I can't think of his name or what class. I think he was maybe in D or C class.
Yeah, he was in C. He won the overall. I actually saw him at Universe. He looked really good there. He just placed third first to miss his pro card.
A little more size in the legs, and he's ready for his pro debut.
Yeah.
Just a little more. He's ready. He looks good.
The guy who plays, yeah, show him some love. The guy who get him on a podcast. The guy who plays second to him looked like a freak.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I saw him too. Yeah.
Yeah. If you go back to like where like this picture, where is he? Where's Nate? No, go to the one to the one with Nate.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
That guy.
Oh my gosh.
He looked like a freak. He looked like a freak.
Yeah, he's ready. If he comes in a little sharper, he's ready too.
You remind me of the guy who won the overall Universe or Classic Physique. I forget his name, but he just had such beautiful like lines, bellies and stuff. His shape wasn't too crazy. Like you could see like his shape isn't like awfully crazy, but he's got like a lot of muscle lines, you know, like he's separated, he's stacked, you know what I mean? These guys are big boys.
Yeah.
Big, yeah. They're getting big. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That looks good. Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch it too much. This was like one of the few weekends where there's not a pro show, or at least, you know, not a massive pro show. So I actually got to enjoy the weekend a little bit.
Off. That's good, man.
You gotta, you know, like, I mean, you guys are the pros, but on the media side, on the fan side, well, I guess most fans don't do what I do, but you know, sitting down for like 6 hours a day, just like watching live streams and taking notes, it takes it out of you.
Yeah.
I think if you go back and watch my I think it was the New York Pro coverage, I put out like 7 videos within like 9 hours, and like I think I took a whole week off after that. I was just so done.
You interviewed like the different division winners from like almost all the different divisions, right?
I try to, yeah. I try to at least send a message out to everyone who wins and try to get them on in some sort of panel like this, because I think it's it's fun, sure, to like have the Nicks and the guys and the Ians and have your show guys that are always coming on. But I think it's also really beneficial for the fans and the athletes to just come on with a bunch of different guys, especially if I can get within the division, to just kind of just group think on things and give their opinions and plug their stuff.
Like, I have an opinion, actually. I have an opinion. Like, and I'm gonna say this because I just want it out there. I want it out there. Like, we love to hear about Nick. We love Blessing. We love all those guys. Like, they are absolutely amazing. And we do need to keep like pumping stories out about them. But like, you can't like people just cover them over and over and over again every single day. And it's like, you're using all this time to talk about how great they are, which they are, but you could be using that time to be bringing up so many more athletes in the sport, which is something that you do. It's something that, I do appreciate your channel for. Is like, you're thinking about who's next. And I feel like everybody just kind of like waits until somebody blows up and then they're like, oh, like I'm gonna talk about this guy.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, from a business point of view, my channel doesn't grow as much as other channels. And unfortunately, it's deliberate because the only two focuses I have on this channel is to advocate for athletes and promote shows. Like it's in my thesis, it's in my statement. Like that's what this channel is about. It's not about reporting on hot topics. It's not about gossip. And even when I do talk about stuff like that, it's not authentic. It doesn't sound right. I don't even feel good talking about the stuff. So like the whole Bob Ciccarello thing, like I don't enjoy talking about it because it's so heated and it's negative. I'm not a negative person. So if I can do whatever I can do to help promote athletes, advocate for athletes and promote shows, like that's what I do. And, eventually the views will come, the subscribers will come, so be it. But in the meantime, whatever I can do to help get people's names out there, put faces to names is a big one as well. Especially when you start seeing people winning shows and you haven't heard of them before, or their following is smaller than mine. That's where I really see an opportunity for me to help them. Especially if, not as many people know them.
You're helping each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Helping each other kind of grow in that process, because it's kind of cool that you do that, like Jared was saying,
Yeah.
And that's one thing I loved about the Boston Pro, because I think Terrence had posted something about how to get more exposure and money into the sport. And it's like, okay, and like Jared just said, they're focusing so much on all the big names, which I understand. I get it. It's a business. You're trying to push that. But it's like for Boston, whether you know us or not, they gave us, that limelight. One, it motivated the hell out of me because it's like, okay, like they know I'm coming, so let me work hard, let me do this. They give you the bag with your name on it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just creating that type of exposure, one, it helps. And I think it built that show up. Whereas other shows, some shows don't even have live streams. Like you gotta wait until after the show is done, or hoping that somebody is, live streaming through Instagram. So it's like, I think the promoters, I mean, I know it costs money, but it's like, do more to get the exposure out there, because it's going to help not only the top people, but also, inspiring bodybuilders or classic physique, bikini, whatever, help them get into the sport. Because if they keep seeing top guys who've been doing it for years, in a sense, it's kind of intimidating. It's like, I'm not gonna be this. So it's like, okay. So seeing someone that, a local guy who works out in the gym actually go through the process and make it to one of these big stages and all of the, the steps through that, I think that's different. Like inspiring not only, again, top people, but also, lower ranking competitors as well. Yeah.
Right.
It's not even going to just help the athletes, like it will help the promoters too. And I think a lot of them don't realize that. Like you put more into your show. You put more. Like Boston was so hyped up, let's say, but like for a good reason. Like it wasn't like just a shit show, like you talked about. Like all the bodybuilders were awesome, classic, men's physique, women's divisions, right? And it's because it was presented like that. Like I think I know what you're talking about. Like you guys had like individual posts with like your picture alone saying this.
Yeah, custom graphics.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's so cool. And it's like, I understand like not every, promoter can do that or find someone to help with that. But to your point, like of like growing the bigger name guys and the smaller name guys, like it's also going to help the, you know, like that's why I got it. I didn't really know much about the Boston Pro, but then like with all the posts about it, I was like, yo, like this is looking like a really, really cool show. Like this is something I would want to consider down the road. And it makes you want to do it just from them investing more into themselves, into their show and their promotion. And then you have like, I'm not going to like, you know, say names of certain promoters and whatnot, but like, you know, there's a few shows that like, you're just like, man, like them and their productions can be run a bit better. And I
Absolutely.
think and it would help the athletes too. And it would make more people want to do those shows. And, you know, instead, you know, like these shows don't have big turnouts, or they have like, it doesn't, you know, we're like, okay, like the show even happened this weekend. Like no one even knew about it. Like you were saying, like there's no live stream, no one's posting about it. Like, it's like, yeah, like what, you know,
I tell you guys that about Boston that I think like, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Justin.
No, you're good.
But like one thing about Boston that like was completely different was I was walking down the street with my family in Boston, Massachusetts, and I had a kid walk up to me and said, "Oh, you're Jerry Keys. You know,
Wow.
I know you because, you know, from the promotion from the show, you know." And it's like I've had people walk up to me, but like I've never been to Boston before, guys. Like that was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I've never like I've been to Boston once, like
Boston,
I've never did anything.
Coolest city in America.
It's awesome. Like, I do like Boston.
Yeah, Boston.
I do like Boston.
Non-biased.
Like, to have that kind of interaction with like a fan, you know what I'm saying? Like we weren't at the show. We were like we were like shopping or something. And it's like it's crazy. You know, it's so motivating to know that when you're put out there, like people are actually watching, like kids, you know, people that are into the sport, you know, the teams, you know, there's a lot of teens that are into bodybuilding right now. And it's like to show the athletes, to show, you know, people who aren't the superstars, you know, coming up, you know, it really, really does motivate them. You know, it really does make them feel like they can do it, you know?
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it the way I did, but I didn't put it together because I've been looking at all these different shows and trying to figure out like who's doing what right, who's doing what wrong. And I mean, the Boston Pro really did do a phenomenal job putting out those graphics. That doesn't take much. I can put out those graphics. Like they can hire any person with basic graphic design skill, and they could put out all those photos within like 2 hours. But what I thought was really important was they put out those graphics with Jared and Lamar's face on them. It puts a face to the name. And sometimes, even for me, like I'll be honest, if I look at a scorecard for men's physique, I don't know half the competitors. So I have to hope that when I Google their name, it's giving me the right guy. So it's the value that was provided. I'm just kind of putting it together now was so phenomenal that I think it really shows should do that just for the future. And it's free promotion for the athlete it's easy for them to reshare that. I mean, like even the little graphics I put together for my stuff, I think is great to help put out people's faces, names, make hype for things.
And the two things that were a huge difference, well, not a huge difference, but the price for the live stream was like $10.
$10, man.
That show was phenomenal. Another top show, they're charging
40,
30, 40, $50, and the damn the screen, all it isn't clear. It's like it's not even 1080, it's like 760 or so.
Yep. There's been a couple shows, man. Couple shows this year that are $40 for the morning, $40 for the evening. By the time I spent $120 on one weekend covering a show, and the live stream was in the back of the auditorium, so it wasn't even zoomed in. It was just like you could see most of it, but it could have been so much better. So there's
respectfully, I feel like live stream should be as cheap as possible. Because the thing is, if you're trying to make money off of it, you want to make money off of the volume of people watching it, not the fact that 5 people who really, really want to see one athlete are watching it.
Right. Yeah, because they're gouging the media guys like myself. They're gouging the super fans, the parents. That's who they're taking the money from.
And the experience, because now at these shows, they have people running around saying like, put your cameras away, no recording, no pictures. And like, I remember at Universe, I had a men's physique posing client who turned pro, and like I was trying to video them announcing his name, and some chick running the thing came over and was like, you can't record this. I was like, they're not even on stage battling anymore. They're about to just say he's about to turn pro. I want to get on video. She's like, no, you got to put your phone away or else you get kicked out. I'm like, are we serious right now? I was
that's a bit much.
I was like, no one's streaming this, you know. This
There's not even a stream. Right.
There's no stream for the pro qualifier. Like, I'm not streaming this on my IG. I'm not videoing it for, you know, to make money off of it. Like, this is my athlete who's about to get a pro card, who I just want to have. I want a video of him, them saying his name, you know, new IFBB pro. And unfortunately, I missed that. And I guarantee a lot of people do, because that's what they're kind of like, you know, they're not allowing you to do this at these shows yourself too, which kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, like the athletes, we are putting in the work and whatnot. And if there's no live and our families can't take stuff, you're relying on like, you know, spending a lot on certain photographers or videographers and whatnot, which, you know, stuff can add up, you know what I mean? So, and it's worth the money because these guys do a phenomenal job, right? But it's like, man, like, why can't my mom just take a simple picture of me, you know, on stage, or a little video of me or something like that, you know?
There's no transparency with those policies, because if they're not going to let you just record someone speaking that this person's a new pro, but then we had I apologize, I can't think of the guy's name, but a top men's physique Olympian, top 4, live streaming the entire Cali Pro, the entire thing. Where's the standard, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where someone like an athlete rep should be able to come in and be like, hey, let's put it in paper, let's put it in writing what the standard is, and then let people discuss it. It's I just
want to ask real quick, did any of you guys, like, and this is no shade to anybody in any kind of way, did any of you guys ever hear of an athlete rep before this year?
No. Well, I mean, I've heard of it before. Like, I heard it back in the day, but like, I didn't even think that was a thing anymore. I thought there was too many athletes to even be an athlete rep. Like, the athlete rep thing that Bob probably had was when there was probably like men's bodybuilding and women's bodybuilding. So like, he was the rep or whatever. Now with all these divisions and stuff like that, like, you know, in all honesty, like he can't be everyone's athlete rep, because like, how many athletes now? So many pro cards. He'd spend days just catching up. If everyone sent him one email asking a request, like all 3 of us, like literally everyone, like he couldn't do it himself, you know? So maybe an athlete rep per division or something like that, right? Where it's like the classic has a rep, open has a rep, wellness has a rep, figure has a rep, you know, like all the different divisions have its own rep, right? But yeah, I don't mean go on from tangent, but like to answer your question, like I had no idea.
I don't think it's fair for me because, you know, I'm a media guy, but I definitely knew a little bit of the history behind it. And then the athlete rep conversation popped up a few years ago when I first started commentating. So I was familiar that Bob was affiliated with the athlete rep position. I think he said it during one of the Olympia press conferences a few years ago. He mentioned it. So
I think I got so blown out of water. So just a little fun fact about me. I run one of the area's nutrition stores. So like the event that Fouad said that at, I was there for. Like, I saw that live in person. Like, I was there for it. Just like with the whole like Chris leaving Ian for Hani type thing. Like, I gotta be honest with you, everything was so blown out of proportion from these other media outlets.
So Chris, he has a different coach now?
Oh, I don't know, but remember, like,
I didn't hear that.
Like, Trigilli put out a video.
Yeah, he said he was working with Hani Rambod.
Yeah, and like they mentioned, like Ian mentioned, like in their live, like Hani was helping Chris with some stuff outside bodybuilding, and then Fouad asked, like, is Chris ever going to work with Hani? And he said, I don't know, maybe, but not now. That's all he said. Like, that's what he said. Like, and then they blew it out of the water. Like, Chris is working with a new coach, and it's like, you know, when I heard that, I'm like, I'm there, and I saw it live in person. Like, like, you know, that was not said at all. And the whole thing with the athletes rep, I mean, they did post that up, the video of Fouad saying, like, we have an in-name, you know, athletes rep who doesn't do much for the league. But like, I mean, I don't really think that anything he said in that direct moment was necessarily wrong, because like, I don't know.
It's very valid. He doesn't do much for the athletes.
Too much, and maybe he has, or he did a lot. Like
Yes.
Guy came out and said in a recent podcast, like Bob did help him with some certain things and whatnot. Which is awesome to know that, like, yeah, he is helping people, but like people don't know it. So you can't be mad at people because like we do have no idea. Like I guarantee the other two pros right here, Jared and Lamar, had no clue. And I didn't have really.
Yeah, I didn't know. I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
I'll say too, like I try to be pretty up in bodybuilding. There's obviously things I don't know, but like I feel like that's my dog shaking. Sorry, yeah. But I feel like if it was something that like was pretty like well known, I would have at least heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what would you guys like to see come out of this conversation? Like, what tangible result would you guys like to see from this whole talking about athlete rep and Bob and Fouad?
I think what Justin said is pretty good. I mean, having like an athlete rep, I mean, it could be, and I don't know the like logistics of it. I really, really don't. And I'm not trying to say that like it's easy or anything like that. But like having a division rep that we can at least, you know, send a quick email and say, hey, I just turned pro. Like, what should I do? You know, and maybe even just like a pre-filled form that's just like do these things, you know.
How beneficial would it? I'll get to you and Lamar and Justin in a second. How beneficial would it be if you, as soon as you turn pro, someone that maybe you get all the Olympians together for Classic, they all vote at the conference, on the press conference, they put, you know, a piece of paper in a hat and they vote for someone on the Olympia panel, or they could even write in someone else to vote for. And then that one person sends out an email to every new pro and even existing pro with like templates of like how to do things like, hey, this is how you reach out. This is a good way of reaching out to get a supplement sponsor and a clothing sponsor. These are templates and like formats. These are some channels you can reach out to for interviews, you know, BNN or, you know, Ron Harris or Strength Addicts. I mean, there's so much stuff out there that could be done. I'm just wondering who would pick up that gauntlet if the need was there.
Based off of what you're saying right there, Josh, like there's one person, and there are more. There are many people actually, many Olympians who come to mind. But Terrence Ruffin, right off the top of my head, is the type of person. Like I've reached out to him a few times, and I said, "What do you think about this contract? What do you think about, you know, what do you think about this? What do you think about that?" And like every single time, you know, I felt, you know, nervous because I'm like, I don't want to take his time. This isn't his job. But he more than willingly was like, "Hey, like you should ask this. You should say, you know, you should ask this. You know, not telling me what I should do, like not like telling me, you know, what I need to do or anything like that, but just saying, like, what do you feel about that? You know, questions and things like that, so that I can better understand, you know, what's even being discussed, you know, and things like that. And it's like, I feel like, you know, it's hard to say that, you know, that it's easy for the IFBB to like have somebody do that, because like Terrence should be compensated for that kind of thing. Now I'm at the point now where I asked him, I said, dude, like, what does it cost to have you be my consultant? Like, what does it cost to have you be my, you know, person who I come to? And he's like, bro, like I can't even charge for this because it's not a job that I do. Like, I don't mind helping you when I can. But, you know, it's just like, I feel like if it was an official thing, the official role for people to have, like people like Terrence would willingly do it, and it would make the sport, you know, grow more. I feel like the athletes would understand things better, and we would enjoy it better. We'd get more out of it. You know, we'd be able to support our families better with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even something easy as, you know, a percentage of each pro card renewal fee every year per division would go towards the salary to support each division's athlete rep. And then you could always have, you know, like a GoFundMe. You could always have like different ways to fund it. But I mean, come on, guys, like, we know that the IFBB has money for how much people they have on staff. Like, there's got to be money floating around somewhere. Now, where it goes and the efficacy that they use that money for, it's a different conversation. But
yeah, I would like to see. I mean, I know this has been a topic, and it may not be as strong as an opinion for every competitor who has this issue, but for Classic, the weigh-ins and the hiding, I think there should be just one time you do your height and that's it. And then obviously you have to check your weight at the show, but to do that, because there's been shows where my cutoff would end up being 222, and then it comes down to one show they had me like, it was just crazy, like having these different height caps just based off of this generic tape on the wall or whatever they got at the time. It's like, all right, this is flawed because you having me coming in at this weight and all that. So I don't know where I need to be. So I know that's not an issue for everyone, but I think having that, you know, communicated to someone like, hey, we need to just have this in the database so they don't have to do this every
Print it
show,
on your pro card.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, I mean, obviously, I guess it is a concern for classic and maybe other divisions. The purse, like how much we're making for these the shows. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like it can be more put into it depending on the resources and how they, you know, delegate what they're spending it on. Because I know a lot of that money goes into those damn the backdrops.
Yeah, like Bob said, the $10,000 LED backdrop. Like, who's asking for that?
Yeah,
Let's put $10,000 back into the athletes.
Yeah, that, because I mean, you first place is like 2K, one show might be 3K, and it's like, okay, step that up. Arnold this year, the purse was bigger than the Olympia purse for classic. So it's like, okay,
so let's step it up.
Yeah, let's step it up. So that, and then there's some other things, because you know, not to compare today's bodybuilding world to the 80s or whatever, but these guys was going on tours.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
I want that back.
Yeah, who's
the European Grand?
I want that back.
The European Grand Tour. If we could bring that back, that would be so freaking cool.
Like,
just to have like every weekend a show in Europe for like 10 weeks, and like people just like Ronnie and Lee and Milos, like all those guys on a bus just going to show to show to show. Actually, it was like, I think Lee said on his last podcast with Fouad, it was like 8 shows in like 10 days.
Yeah.
I mean, if health permits, like I am more than willing to do more than a few shows in a row. But the thing is, we have to have incentives to do it. Yeah. I mean, the incentive of, you know, winning is obviously important, but like we have to get something for showing up and being there too. You know? But mainly the winners need to get more too. Mainly the winners, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think too, with that purse being increased, and then also you know, more incentives, people will do more shows. This year, the lineups have been light. I mean, 10, 12 guys, maybe 15. But I know, because I did Battle of Texas. I think the same show that you did, Justin. I got like 15th that show, but it was like 30 guys. So it was like, okay, but it's like we're unable to do back-to-back shows because I mean, we're bleeding money at that point. So it's like, okay, how can we get here? Because I would love to do, you know, shows back-to-back, not only to win money, but just for the exposure, because I love it. And then, just go through that process and get my name out there, because I'm trying to build a platform behind it. But if I got to spend 2,000-3,000 from here in 1 week into that, it's not making sense. Like, I got my girlfriend doing my tan because like I'm trying to save.
Like going to I remember this, like just going over my finances for like Texas and Atlantic Coast back to back this past November. I stayed in Texas from Wednesday to Tuesday just because I wasn't planning on doing the Atlantic Coast show. So yes, I did spend a little bit more on an Uber for like an Airbnb for the extra 2 nights. Like, you know, my Airbnb is like $1,000 or just like $1,100 from Wednesday to Tuesday. And then we didn't get a rental car. You know, so we're Ubering around, so that adds up, and the flights that adds up, and the next weekend hotel and flight that adds up. So it's like, man, you're putting in like, you know, close to like 2,500, and like, yeah, like, you know, I got some prize money for it, but guess what? Like my prize money paid off me traveling. Yeah, I didn't like, you know, my prize money went towards me. It's like I just netted zero in a sense. Like I didn't gain, and if I didn't win money at these shows, I would be in the negative. You know what I mean? For traveling. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of what you guys are saying is true. And I don't know about you guys. Like, yeah, money would be awesome. Let's not get it twisted, man. Like, money would be awesome to get more money, but like just to be able to compete and not have to pay for expenses on, you know, because we pay for the pro card. first. And then I think there's a lot that like up and comers don't realize. And like, even like amateurs who are like, I want to be a pro one day. You know, like, I don't know about you guys, but like, when you turn pro, did people say like, oh, you have it made now, like money's going to start coming in, like you're good, like, because people think that's what it's like. And they're like, you get the sponsorships, you're going to get money from just being a pro. It's like, I've been in more debt since being a pro. You know what I mean? As an amateur, it was cheaper. You know what I mean? It was cheaper as an amateur, traveling to local shows, doing all this stuff. But like, when you start to have to fly to places, pay for Airbnbs, you know, the pro cards, more money for the year, which, you know, that's $250, it's whatever. But like, everything adds up. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to get more money to just compete more, not to like use it to make bank and like go get a nice car, nice watches. Like, that's not what I think any of us have our mind on. It's like, how can we get more money to travel more for these shows, to compete in these shows and to do these shows? It's like, it adds up, man. People don't realize it. You know, you guys both did like 3 shows back to back, right? So like, you're putting out a good amount of money. It's like, you know, what's
like being a competing pro, like you have to be more resourceful. You have to be entrepreneurial in spirit, and you have to be really, really good at business. So you have to find people who are good at business to help you. And it's like, I do think that that's a good challenge, but I do also think that we shouldn't have to work so hard just to make ends meet.
Sure.
Yeah, outside of bodybuilding.
Do you all work full-time jobs still? Like, probably, right?
Yeah,
like,
well, I personally train full time.
Okay.
Kind of,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Personal train full-time. Lamar, you do something full-time, I'm guessing?
Yeah. Personal train.
Yeah, exactly. So I do coaching. I run a store. It's like, you know, working like, you know, a lot. And then on top of that, you have to lift, you have to do cardio, you have to take care of like the 2 dogs, your girl, if you have kids, your kids, you know, it adds up, and it can be a mental stress when you have to, in the back of your head, you're like, where do I stand with finances? You know what I mean? Like, where do I stand with my money? You know what I mean? Kind of trying to allocate it to the right places. It can definitely be a stressor. I don't know about you guys, like, you know, but it definitely can. And when we look at our shows for the year, it's like, that's something that definitely weighs into my decision making in regards to competing. It's like, it'd be nice to do 3 shows, but like, it's looking like 1, maybe a second, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's certain situations, you know, just kind of throwing that out there, right? Like, you guys might think like, you know, it might be helpful if I do like 3, 4, 5 shows, but like, does my money really, you know, like,
you have to do the math. Yeah. When I like at the beginning of the season, you know, after Houston and Boston, I was like, dude, like, I'm just losing money doing this. Like, I can't keep doing this, you know. And part of the Warrior Classic for me was realizing that, you know, one, I was good enough to be doing this, because you got to be placed in top 5 to be competing continuously. You have to. But, you know, that was the first time that I actually, like, you know, I was able to break even that weekend. And, you know, that feeling was amazing, but it's just like, I had to work so hard. And people had to work harder than me even. You know what I'm saying? People had to work harder than me even, and longer than I've had to. But the truth of the matter, like, it's like that's demoralizing almost to say that, like, this is what I'm working my life for, and, you know, I'm barely breaking even when I'm giving everything I got, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I love the sport. And I'm grateful for the challenge, but I do think that we'd be able to appreciate it even more if we just had more access to it.
Yeah, and to anyone listening, like, don't take this as like, we're not telling you to go for your goals of being a professional in the sport and whatnot. Just know, you want to know these things before you kind of get into it, because this is stuff I didn't know. This is stuff when I was an amateur, I thought like it would be easy when I got to the pro ranks, and like, you know, money would be better, and like, you know, I'd be able to do my shows and whatnot. But like, there's just something to kind of realize, like, you know, as an amateur, and like, again, like, you know, I don't know if you guys agree, but like, it was cheaper for me to compete as an amateur.
That's right.
Pro, you know what I mean? It costs more to compete as a pro than it does as an amateur, you know, with everything that kind of goes into it, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's not a matter of not loving what we do. It's just kind of being real with the situation, so that, you know, we can, you know, tell people that, like, you know, it can be a struggle, but like, it's worth it to us. Obviously, that's why we continue to do it. You know, it's just something that, you know, people might not understand, you know, is definitely it's definitely something that we have to think about, is finances, when we're kind of going through the gauntlet of what we're going to do for a year, for a season, you know?
I want to add this little piece in before I guess we change topics if we are. So I don't know if y'all are aware, but for the Olympia, they cover a flight and hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like it gets your wheels running, turning. So it's like, okay, for the other shows, maybe like you said, um, make the tanning free. I mean, y'all pretty much same thing. Make the tanning free. Maybe some allowance for the room and the flight. We do get a discount, but let's make it a little bit better because they got to stand at the host hotel. You don't have to, but it's like, okay, you get this discount. Maybe speak to whoever you need to speak to, who is at the Hyatt or whatever, the Marriott, and they're like, hey, we got these competitors coming. Let's make a deal, figure something out where it's a little bit cheaper, or if not, they're going to cover it. Because again, like you said, the resources are there, and the IFBB does have it. I mean, it is a business; they have to make their ends meet as well. But it's like, if you want us there, have some stuff covered, so we're not trying to fight and struggle to get there. So like they're wanting these big lineups and stuff, but it's like I'm not going to sit here and keep trying to travel here and there, and do my best and hoping that I get one, the Olympia qualification, but also trying to get a little $3,000 check. I mean, that's going to cover food and supplements.
Not even. It's gonna, it's to cover
It
for
pays for the weekend. It pays for the show weekend.
It's gonna make sure you netted zero. You didn't go in the negative. You just stayed. You floated. You know what I mean? That's your life vest. It's just kind of keeping you afloat.
That's enough to go to the next show.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like you said, Justin. Like we're not complaining, and that like we don't want to do this. Like we choose to do this every single day. It's what we love to do. But you know what I'm saying? This is just what we think could make the sport better overall for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I've been trying to make more highlight reels out of these episodes because those actually seem to do better than the overall episode. It's really weird. But I'll definitely do like a call to action for Bob or something like that, and like I'll send it to him. Fuck it. I had someone say like, you should have Bob on the show. I'm like, I don't know how well that conversation would go because he seems pretty combative in his monologues, and like I don't handle well to people that aren't fun and bubbly. So I don't think that would go well.
Right.
Or at least open to hearing you, right? Like, like he, again, I'm not here to say anything about anyone, but just from my from what I'm seeing from him, you're right. It's like just in regards to that incident, right? Like, and me being there in person, hearing what Fouad actually said, which like I'm pretty sure you all might have seen the clip of what Fouad said at the live podcast. It really wasn't anything crazy. I'm sorry, like he really didn't. Like everyone's like, he should have said his name. It's like,
who cares?
Did he have? Yeah, like did he have to?
Bob,
like,
I think Fouad was trying to protect Bob because he was like, I don't want to say something if Bob isn't doing it anymore.
Yeah, he
doesn't say about
but he's like, we got a rep that doesn't really do too much, and like, that's really all. He didn't say, Bob smells bad, like, like, and then Bob went out there and said, you're still making your snowmen up there, and still like, throwing all these little jabs, like before you even around, buddy. Like, it's like, Jesus, man, it's like, wow, it's like
it was not good.
I mean, one thing that I don't understand is like why Bob would come at Fouad like that, because I do feel like there was some egos that were touched. We're men, we have egos, whatever the case might be. But with all that being said, I feel like Fouad is respectfully doing the most for the industry than any one person I can think of off the top of my head in terms of putting information out there, in terms of trying to help and inform the fans and trying to help athletes. Like Fouad did that panel with Terrence and with Ross Flanagan, all those guys, and I feel like he's going out of his way to try to help people. So I feel like, egos were kind of touched and pressed, but at the end of the day, it wasn't for a malicious intent or to hurt anybody.
Yep.
I don't even think egos were like touched that much, in my opinion. I really don't think he did anything that would have like
been like super offensive.
Yeah, like, if anything, Bob like reach out to him personally, be like, hey man, like I saw this, like what are some things like, but when you go into this defense mode and you feel like, and it was like a few weeks after the thing that the podcast was posted too. It was like really like just like because we did it in like mid-June when they came out to us. And then that was said like, what, beginning of July, maybe? It's like, what the, it's, come on, like, what now? You know, all this stuff stemming from this live podcast. I was like, what the hell, you know?
For it to be like one of the number one bodybuilding competition podcasts, and it took Bob that many weeks to even hear about it, I think says something. But also, Bob being so upset about what was said, I think speaks validity to what he's not doing as an athlete reps. Because if he was confident in his convictions of what he is doing, and he knows that he's doing the best that he can do for the athletes, then he would have defended himself in a different way. And it's like, oh, hey, Fouad, no big deal. So this is what I've been doing. No big deal, man. Like, I get it. Sometimes it's a little confusing. Lots going on. Fouad's running a couple businesses. Like, no biggie. That's how I would have responded. But to see the way the way Ciccarello responded, I think speaks to what he's not doing instead of what he says he is or has been doing.
Yeah.
So hopefully, Bob, if you see this, man, take away the positives, kill the ego at the door, do what's best for the athletes and from promoters. That's what we all want. So
I got nothing against Bob, but it'd be awesome to see him, maybe step up more into the role that he wants, into the role that he claims.
And I'd like to see an official publication of what athletes are actually asking for, and then what the official response is from the IFBB in forms of press releases, or even if it's just like if you had Tim Mannion, or I don't know if those guys are very vocal on video, but just come out and say, hey, like, we've heard that you guys want this, this, and this. This is what we're doing to address those things, or these are the reasons why we can't. But like an email or anything, I guess anything would be fine, but just something.
Anything would be better than nothing.
Silence.
Yeah. Now, right? So I know an email when you turn pro, it's like, every weekend, or like, not every weekend, but there's like, a lot of pro qualifiers out there. It's like, it's not that hard to go to the list of the people who turn pro. They had to register for the show somehow, so their emails are somewhere, right? And just have Bob, or not even Bob, this isn't about Bob, but like just have whoever is in charge of the division reach out. Hey, I'm your athletes rep for this division. Any questions you have, please ask me. And something else I would like to see too is, not for nothing, the IFBB Pro schedule on the website is so all over the place sometimes.
Yeah.
And those shows like last second, last minute, that I look at and I'm like, oh man, I could have done we could have popped into something like that. And it's just like, I just wish that the schedule was more set and was sent to the division that you compete in was sent to you each year. And it kind of gave us a more accurate idea of like what shows there are. That would be kind of like, there's a lot more that could happen to benefit athletes, but I think that's just like a start, in my opinion. The schedule for the upcoming year, and then also maybe having the rep of the division reach out and just greet and say, if you guys do have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me and about it, because I don't think a lot of us are really asking for that much. Like, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but hopefully it doesn't sound like that's a big thing to ask. You know what I mean? It's something simple,
when I first started, like, I just had like this thought in my head for like the whole month, and I was just like, what do I do? Like, I'm a pro bodybuilder. Like, what do I do now?
Because there's not even too much info on how to get your pro card.
Yeah.
They don't tell you like you have to email IFBB to get back to you, print out the contract, send it back with like a check, money order, whatever. Like, I didn't really know too much about it. I had to reach out to a buddy who was a pro and say, how do you do this stuff? Because like, I didn't really know, you know what I mean? How to get the actual pro card they send you. And like something like that would be helpful to kind of know for these newcomers, and these athletes. And like with how the world is now, like there's a lot of like language barrier and whatnot, so like a lot of stuff gets miscommunicated, misinterpreted. Like we see that a lot. So like it would just be really helpful to make things a little bit more simple for all the athletes, you know what I mean? To kind of make our job easier, which will make the promoter's job easier, which will make the pro league's job easier, which will make everyone's job easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Benefit everyone.
I mean, that's what these conversations are all about, is just like trying to figure out what would work, and then getting feedback from someone like Bob or someone like Tim or any of those senior guys, like, hey, this is why this might not work, but how about this instead of just shutting down ideas? something Justin and Jared, you guys were just saying, if we had a division rep and a show could send, like if the Boston Pro had men's physique, men's open, and maybe bikini, and they only did like 3 divisions, but obviously they probably do more. If they only had 3 divisions, then they just need to send that information to those 3 reps and being like, hey, this is all the information for the check-in, live stream. This is the dates, all the information, and they can just disseminate that to whoever's going to the show. Or you just, just more communication. That's why I tell my wife, like when we're doing counseling, like the best thing we can do for this relationship, the best thing that the IFBB can do for their relationship with the athletes is to just keep working on better and more frequent communication.
I think communication is the key to everything. That's for sure.
Sure.
I want to touch on the schedule too. I think that's really important because the Warrior Classic, it wasn't even on my radar. Like I seen it.
Me neither.
Someone actually
like the day before the show.
yeah, like someone another competitor under Chris, he just reached out and asked me was I doing it. So I was like, I didn't even know. So I looked and I was like, might as well now. So I jumped into it. But yeah, and I think the schedule should be more strategic in a sense too. I forgot who mentioned this, but the beginning of the year, maybe something like that, and then everyone takes off Olympia. I mean, obviously it's not going to work that perfect, but having it to where we're not so scattered across the board, because I mean, health is one of the underlying risk out there for doing what we do for so long. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to be in prep the whole damn year.
Yep.
Trying to if not collect points and trying to win a show. So the earlier the better. But obviously, again, if the Olympia is going to be at the tail end of the year, and that's still going to run some consequences somewhere. But I don't know. I feel like the schedule is kind of it's wild. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like to just go ahead.
No, I was just real quick question. Do you guys like the Olympias in December?
No, but
I think a lot of people liked it in October.
Yeah, I'm not trying to miss Thanksgiving or Christmas and none of that.
Yeah, let's do it in October and then enjoy a nice off season.
Yeah, I guess it's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say, Justin?
No. If I think about it that way, I agree 100%. I think about it from more like last show of the year, go out with a bang. It's the Olympia, you know what I mean? It's like the week before Christmas, right? So like technically you will be back home, but you're right. There's so much last minute shopping. Yeah. People's jobs are hectic.
Hey guys, in post-production, I realized that for some reason the camera switches from the group panel to the individual speaker mode for recording. So I do apologize for that weird technical difficulty. Hopefully you continue to enjoy the quality content. Please keep watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys at the end of the video.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I want to make sure that you guys were hearing it too. It wasn't just me. No, that's the only thing I was thinking about. Like, it's like last show of the year, got a bang, biggest show of the year, and then enjoy Thanksgiving, and then the Arnold is in March, or the first couple shows, so you have a couple months in the beginning of the year to kind of relax, and a big show kicks off competition season and whatnot. But I agree 100%. Maybe October, late October, so you can enjoy Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot would be smart for athletes and for families and whatnot, especially the families of ours who put up with what we do, you know what I mean? So to be able to enjoy the holidays with them and be able to, celebrate, life, life's too short. So to be able to enjoy those moments, it is important. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do like it in December because it is the end of the year, but I didn't mind it being in October either. So, I guess I'm indifferent to it from a media standpoint. They're not flying me to the shows yet. So, I'm kind of in a middle space. Yeah. There's a good chance I'm going to get flown out to Vancouver next year to do the live stream commentary. So, awesome. I'm really freaking excited for that. So, yeah. So things are happening. Yeah.
Good, man. Keep it up, man. For sure.
Yeah. I'm hoping to be the younger, not as good looking Ron Harris. That's my goal.
That's a good goal. Not as good looking.
Yeah, that's the plan. But yeah, that's what I love about what we're doing here is we're just making conversation about things that the athletes would like to see. And then we also talk about things like, we're going to talk about the Tampa Pro lineup in a second. There's so much space for people just to have conversation. And I feel like the more we do it, maybe the more the IFBB will do it. Who knows? Speak into existence.
Having the conversations is important. I mean, the thing is, if we talk about it, other people hear about it, they'll talk about it, they'll think about it, and more people will talk about it. That's how change is created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if no one's asking for it, nothing's gonna change. What do they call it? The closed mouth doesn't get fed or something?
Get fed. Closed mouth don't get fed.
Isn't that what like Jay-Z said to Kanye? I think that was like I think when
you might have.
Jay-Z was in studio and then Kanye wanted to try out because there's like a beat playing, and then Kanye went up there and just like destroyed it. And then when he came back, Jay-Z was like,
"You're right," because he
was shocked.
He wanted to get on Jay-Z's album.
Yep.
He's like, get on Jay-Z's album, and so he had to go out there. He was trying out. He was trying to get with Death Row. So he was trying to prove to Dame Dash that he was a good rapper. Dame didn't want to hear it, so he was like, "All right, I'm gonna go straight to Jay-Z, and I'm gonna get put on his album." Yep. That's right.
Any last thoughts? Any other things you guys would like to put in for what you would like to see an athlete rep do for new athlete pros, current pros? Anything you can think of?
A good amount, honestly. I mean, I think we'll start with communication, and then from there we could go a lot of good places.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's keep knowing who we can do.
Yeah.
Knowing that there's someone, because I guarantee there's questions that people have, and like knowing what division rep we can go to, obviously the division that we're in and whatnot. But yeah, to Jared's point, like just communication, just being able to have someone to talk to if need be.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tampa Pro. Do you guys know any? I know I'm tracking the Open and the 212. I haven't looked too deep into the Classic of who's doing the Tampa. Who do you guys got?
There's a kid named Valentin from Europe.
Okay.
That kid looks good. He looks really good. I'll just pull up his Instagram if I can find it. I just started following him, actually.
Yeah, I haven't even been keeping up with too much. I've been so
locked in.
Yeah, I haven't been looking anywhere, so I don't know who's going to be. I mean, I have some friends who are doing the show, female competitors, but I don't know the lineup. I thought Breon was doing it at one point.
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing it or not.
Yeah, he's looking too swole right now to be doing it.
I saw he was doing he announced, I think it was the Arnold UK.
Really?
I think he said he was doing that in either Classic or 212. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought I just saw that.
Okay.
That might have been new.
I think it's on his page. If you scroll through it, one of his hashtags was Arnold UK 2022.
Okay. Because
I'm weird like that. That's the stuff I look for.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too. But I was looking at his physique. I'm like, ain't no way in the world he's finna
do
Tampa looking like that. Yeah.
No.
That's part of the reason why I didn't prep for Tampa. I'm not gonna lie.
I haven't been paying too much attention to like Lamar, to be honest with you. I'm just busy with work and life and stuff like that. Too much into like the competitions and who's competing. But I did see that Kamal is doing Open, and I'm extremely excited for that because man, like I'm extremely. I had an argument with one of my buddies recently on like how Sean Clarita could do an Open because he's like he'll never do well because he's shorter. I'm like, don't underestimate, man. I'm telling you, like, yes, he won an Open show that was against like Sergio and Regan, not against like top level, like top level guys, you know what I mean? But like still like that guy's a freak. Derek's a freak. Kamal's a freak. Angel, who qualified in the show, he placed fourth, is a freak. Like literally the 212 top four, I think, could come into the Open, and like I really think all four of them could do some serious damage and hurt some feelings of the open lineup. I genuinely think that for sure.
Yep.
Derek, I think Derek could win an open Olympia in a couple of years. Well, I mean, couples too. Yeah, I think he could do it like soon if he like grows. I really do, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Without a weight cap, real possibility of just growing into what possibilities could be. You never know.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but like, what I'm saying is I'm extremely impressed with the 212 guys.
Yeah.
Who are coming up, like Tony O'Byrne. He looks great too. Like, and he's doing all these open shows, and he comes in tighter, man. He's got beautiful shape. He's very complete. Like, sheesh, right? Like all these guys, like these 212 guys coming to open, like seriously are really impressing. Like they're really, really like doing, very impressive.
I think like the 212 guys, I mean, Tony was amazing in his own right, because he's just bubbly and insane. But the main thing I can say about the other guys, beyond their muscle masses, their conditioning is just absolutely insane. Like open guys, respectfully, don't bring that kind of conditioning usually. There are a few, but they usually don't bring it like that. Sean Clarita, like, people like to say, oh, like he's nails, whatever the case. That dude is literally, he's one of the most conditioned athletes, I think, on the stage, but he's also one of the most densely muscled athletes on the stage.
Yeah.
If we're looking at, structure and size alone, I mean, there's nobody that has more muscle on their frame than Sean.
Yeah.
Hard muscle.
Yeah.
Sure.
The most complete. Yeah.
And then Derek beast in his own right. I mean, that guy is as big as an open Olympian or open top 5 Olympian, but he can supposedly still make the 212 cap. We're going to see that. But, Justin's absolutely right. Like the 212 is just, I think it's always been the hidden gem.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I fell in love with commentating like this, was from the 212 guys. Like my first 4 interviews were all 212 guys. So, but yeah, talking about 212, one of your own classic physique pros, Rickey Moten, he's coming into the 212 for Tampa.
I think he's going to do well.
Full as a house.
Yeah. I think Ricky's going to do well.
Yeah, we're excited for him. Did he do Boston, or did he do I thought I saw him do a show not too long ago.
He was at the Houston show, but he didn't compete there.
Oh, Houston? Okay.
Yeah, he was at Houston, but yeah, man, Rickey he's a good dude. That dude is huge. So I think, I don't want to say anything, I think he's going to do very well. I think that, if he can come in harder than what we're seeing right here, he's going to do.
Yeah, he's got one more week, and this photo is about a week and a half old. So yeah,
I'm excited to see what he does. Nathan Epler is going to be there as well, right?
Yeah, Nathan Epler, top 4, top 5,
Yeah,
212 Olympian.
Yeah, fifth.
There we go.
Yeah,
he's coming in. I would say, minus a couple people, definitely the favorite. I'll put it out there, favorite top 3, no matter what, unless something crazy happens. But just looking at this photo here, being 7 days out, I think he looks really full.
Yeah, he's hard.
Midsection, midsection's always impressive.
He's a very come in right on time type of guy. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there's certain competitors, you'll see them when they're 2 weeks out, a week out, 3 weeks out, and you're like, they're gonna be pushing it, but they always they know their body, they know those last minute manipulations, and they know just how to make them
peak properly.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys agree with that, but there's some people who they're ready at a month out. There's some people who they're ready right on literally show day, and that's when you're like, what the heck? These guys are perfect.
You guys know this guy named Carlos? I think his name is Carlos Lamar. He won the Optimum Classic show.
Okay.
I was absolutely blown away by like 1 week out. I was like, okay, yeah, great shape, but he's got to bring it in. He's got to come in tight. And I'm telling you, 2 or 3 days later, he posted pictures, and I was like, oh my God. He just 4% body fat in 2 days or something like that. It was crazy. I've never seen anybody get that hard that quick before in my life. I'm talking out of any division. Carlos, let me find this guy.
Yeah. what Justin was saying about, people coming in like perfectly on time, I feel like that has been the conversation around Keone, is whether or not he's gonna either peak too early or if he peaks after for a photo shoot. Last year Chicago I thought looked really good, and then came into the Olympia, didn't hit the mark at the right time. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, what's the possibility of Keone not winning the Tampa Pro this year?
He's doing Tampa?
I thought he said he was doing Tampa.
Yeah.
I know he's doing Texas.
He's doing Texas. Yeah, he's definitely doing Texas. I don't know if he's doing Tampa though.
I
I feel like just like
yeah. Go ahead.
I think that Keone needed the right
8 days
guy.
out. 8 days out, 3 days ago.
I think that Keone needed a different approach in terms of bringing in the conditioning. I mean, that's no disrespect to his prior coaches, but he needed somebody that really, really understood like Olympia level graininess, like Olympia level conditioning. And I feel like with Patrick, he's going to be able to achieve that.
Okay. Yeah.
Tampa,
Patrick's. Yeah.
I think Keone can honestly, like, being on point. Obviously, I think he can win any show that he wants when he's on point. Because I like his shape, structure, everything. It's like, I mean, me being a confident person, if I seen his name come up, I'm gonna have to bow down for a second.
That's right.
No, but him next to Martin, who's a 212 or open guy. Yeah.
If Keone brings it in 100%, nobody's touching him.
Yeah.
Sean, Derek, nobody. But he's got to bring it at 100%. He has to.
Yep. And he also has to beat out the returning champ from Tampa. Let's see if I can spell his name right. Kerrith Bajjo.
Yeah.
Let's see, where is it at? There it is. Really cool guy. Had him on the channel just before he won last year. Super
That guy
cool
was
guy.
crazy. Yeah. I'm gonna say it like this. Like, I feel like he's like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know. That was I gotta.
Yeah, that's impressive. He's very complete.
He is. He's wide.
Yep.
Like, that's a big problem. A lot of 212 guys aren't very wide, but he's wide.
I think he's a top 10 Olympia guy.
Olympian. Yeah.
I think
he needs more roundness in his delts, like more fullness to complete his shape.
Yeah, a little more hottie up here.
Yeah. maybe if he can make it more smooth.
Yeah, a little bit more, not as bumpy. Yeah. So Kerrith's coming in, defending that title. And then Ahmad Wardney, who won the Texas Pro last year.
Freak. Big fan of his physique.
Yep. Crazy conditioning.
Him like very just impressive.
If I can find him. I can remember names, but finding the Instagrams are always the challenge.
Everybody needs to just make their name their Instagram.
They need to make their name and then throw a IFBB Pro in there, because he goes by Wardney and he also goes by Elson Day. So it's different. Like on the scorecard, sometimes it'll be different. So when I commentate, I say both. But he's very impressive.
Jeez, his torso looks very long.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I guess it does. Yeah. Well, the posing trunks are kind of low, Like if he were to hike them up a little bit onto the where they're supposed to be.
I think a long in 212 is kind of advantageous because it gives you more taper, more X factor. He looks good. I feel like there's just something missing. How tall is he?
It can't be very tall. This is a week ago.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's pretty soft.
That's what he's missing is the condition, because he's not popping at all. I mean, obviously beyond like his density of his muscles, but it doesn't look like he's not shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
He could be one of those people though that, like I said, he just
Turns it on.
flips the switch.
you know, like, I wouldn't be surprised just based on the fact of him winning last year. And he was placed like, you know, I actually in Chicago when Keone won, Kerrith placed second. This guy placed third, I think.
Yeah, it was close. Yep.
Yeah. And then when they went to Tampa, Kerrith won. I think this guy placed second. And then when they went to Texas,
Yep.
this guy won. So, you
Yep.
know, I think you can dial it in that last week. Maybe it's a water thing. Like a lot of
much harder in the picture he posted most recently.
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
we can't see the back though.
No.
It might be a water thing. People sometimes are just like water buffaloes. They're shredded
Okay.
with water, and they need to lose the water, and they like come to life. You give them some carbs, you know, their body just completely changes. And other people, they need water and they're naturally dry. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some people just are completely different, right? Everyone's different.
Mhm.
That's right. He might be trying to make weight too. Now that I think about it, he might be super flat.
Could be. Yeah. It still needs to fill up or whatever.
And sometimes when you're flat, you look watery.
Yeah, exactly.
No pop to you. So like you'd think that it wouldn't be that way because you don't have the carbs in you. So like you wouldn't have any water that's kind of held from it. But some people, yeah.
There's no water in the muscle to push against the skin when you're flat and when you have no carbs. So your muscles it doesn't push against the skin. So there's no detail.
Yeah.
And it can create folds too in the back and things like that. You're right. Like if you're pulling really, really hard and like you haven't had carbs in weeks, like, and you're still like, I'll say it like this: when you are truly fat free, for the most part, you're gonna like Breon, for instance. Like when Breon is truly fat free, even when he's holding water, he's still hard. You know, there's no folds, there's no rolls or anything. So it's like one of those things where it's like you're knocking on the door of like 100% conditioning, but you're just not there yet. Like you still have those folds, like there's still, because you know, fat cells can attract water, and when we lose body fat, we shrink those cells.
Okay, get a little science to it, huh?
A little bit of science.
Yeah, I was trying to think like the last time I was, leanish.
That's the basic gist of it.
Yeah,
my bad, guys. I keep walking away to check on the dogs, make sure they're not going to go too crazy. That's why I keep stepping.
We're going to try finishing up. I want to cover the open and then go through some fun questions. So coming into the open for the Tampa Pro, we got Quentin Araya, we got Phil Clayhar, which is, one of my favorite guys. Awesome dude. Roman Fritz making the stage return. So he's coming in. Tim Budashim, I'm pretty sure he's announced that he's doing it as well. He's been doing a few shows. Obviously, we talked about Kamal. Got to be one of the favorites coming in, making his. I don't know if it's his open debut, but he's a 212 guy. Sung Cho Lee announced from South Korea. He's going to be doing it. And then the big name right now, the big question mark is going to be Akim Williams.
If Akim brings the conditioning, it's his show to win.
Yeah, because he won I think Puerto Rico last year. And then, just didn't come in as the way we wanted him at the Olympia. And the unfortunate thing is he doesn't really post much for like physique updates. I just wish I'm a media guy, obviously with what I do, but I just wish he would post more just engaging fan content, I feel like he's stuck back in the 90s when it comes to like bodybuilding marketing.
Yeah, he's not as active on the social media.
Yeah.
And
we only want what's best for him. That's the thing.
Yeah. It's an important thing as a pro, to be engaged on social media. I do believe that.
Yeah. I mean, he's making cool content, but it's not, he's not on Instagram. He's not really posting, not showing anything.
I think it's important to some, and then to others. I think mentally it might be worse for them. I've been hurt sometimes where worrying about posting and consuming yourself can just be awfully toxic. You know what I mean? where sometimes you need to take a breather from it. And some people, you know, because let's, you know, he probably is a bit older, a bit more old school, where it's not really his forte to kind of keep up with it. But to your point, Jared, like, you do need to be able to do that for your own promotion, your own marketing, if you don't have a full-time position that's providing you a lot of money to be, you know what I mean? Because like, I think like, I don't know about you guys, but like if I had the ability to make a lot of money and not post one thing on social media and just show up at shows and then go away and disappear, I probably would, to be honest, because that's more of my personality. You know, I'm good with communicating to people, but I don't like kind of like a more of like that limelight type of thing. So that's just me personally. Like if I had the ability to like, you know, work my simple 9 to 5, but I'm making a good amount of money where I'm able to pay the bills, you know, pay for the puppies, the girlfriend, pay for, you know, make sure everything's covered, everything's bodybuilding, and then just be able to lift and focus on that. That might be something that would pique my interest, you know what I'm saying? And take away from your focus on putting on Instagram, social media, seeing all other people, like having to worry about a way you might appear to other people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's just because I had a conversation with someone about that recently. So that's something that kind of came to mind. Some people, they thrive off of social media and posting, and they kind of need that validation, or even not. Let's like kind of just view it from like a business perspective. They're just really their business, their brand, their marketing for that. It's not a validation thing. You know, some people do use it for that, right? But then the other people are really trying to grow their brand, their YouTubes, their clientele, their whatever. And I respect that, because like there's no better way to do that than on social media. You know what I mean? You kind of have to. But some people, man, they aren't really I don't want to say they aren't like made for social media. Just it's not their thing, and that makes them really uncomfortable and awkward. They're more of like in-person communicators, right? They don't like the online type of thing. You know what I mean? So
I mean Cedric McMillan. I mean, he was, you know, I knew him from the Army side and from the bodybuilding side, and like him in person is so much different than like listening to him talk, doing interviews. But if you do get him when he's in a good mood, or when he was in a good mood, like he was very articulate, and he could talk about things. It's just getting him in front of the camera, getting him in front of the microphone was such a battle.
In person was a lot easier with him. And some just to, you know,
but also like in the military, like he was in his element, like he was an expert within his field, so like he could speak proficiently about you know, his different tasks and you know, different things with the military. So
I guess that's my point, right? Like he was very immersed in the military and what he was doing for his full-time job. Like that was his thing. And then he bodybuilded, and you didn't really know too much about his bodybuilding because the socials, you didn't post a lot. Like, I guess that was the point I was trying to make. Yeah.
So I think it's very common within bodybuilding. Well, even myself, you know, in person, I'm very like looking at the ground, not trying to like, for me, I always think like I'm not trying to upset people. Like I don't want to like someone to think I'm staring at them or make them uncomfortable. So I'm just like staring at my feet and checking my phone. But then if I actually do talk to somebody, it's the light, the switch flips, and then I'm just like a little social butterfly.
Well, nowadays, like if you accidentally look at someone for half a second, if it's a guy, they might think you're trying to, you know,
square up,
or they might think something about you. If it's a female, they're going to call you a perv for checking them out. I saw that one video that someone posted about the one trainer who like,
from a distance
for 1 second, and she's like recording it, trying to like just get them in the limelight. In that sense, I'm just like, man, you can't even like look like I like to like my girlfriend will make fun of me for it, but like I like to say hi to everyone. Like if I'm walking in a grocery store and like we make eye contact, or like I'm opening up a door for you, we're passing each other, like I say, hey, how are you? Like it's a normal thing. I feel like that is not.
It's like, very much not common anymore. I'm a Midwest Wisconsin guy. I used to be very social. I'm in California now. People are very aggressive, and they just tunnel vision. So it's
Shaw and I are from the South, so we probably I know we're kind of a little more used to like people talking, but it's true. Like when I go up north and things like that, it's like less people talking. Shaw, what do you think, man?
Up north it's a little bit more rude. But yeah, down here definitely talk more. But I catch myself trying to change my mindset because everyone, you know, they're moving here, so everyone is different. So now I'm finding myself just trying to put myself in their shoes or something. I don't know, just knowing they're not from here and not try to, you know, talk the junk in my head about them. Like you,
like damn, I held this door open. She didn't say what.
Yeah.
So
I hate that. I hate that. If I hold the door for you, better say thank you, because I'll say it out loud to myself. Like I'll open the door for someone, they don't say it, I'm like, you're welcome. Like I'm like, I just say thank you. Like it's not that hard, man. It's just be a person, man. You know, like people are so wrapped up in, you know, you just take a step back,
universe.
Acknowledge life. Like everyone's a beautiful thing. Like, you know, every person that's living, we beat the odds of how, you know, like we were one out of like millions of little swimming, you know, like trying to get to the egg. Like it's a beautiful thing. So just acknowledge life and say hi to everyone and greet everyone, be kind to everyone, be courteous, hold the door for someone, you know, pay it forward type of thing, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it's also, it could be a cultural thing. I notice over here, this is the first time in my life where, you know, me being like a white guy, I'm in the minority in San Francisco, where it's mostly, you know, Asian descent, Indian, you know, South Asian heritage. Social distance and like personal bubble, it does not exist. I've gotten shoulder checked by so many like 5'0" grandmas. I mean, and not shoulder, I mean, they're checking my hip at that point, but like they don't think about it. They're just, they bump into you and they just move around you. And I'm like, because like testosterone will just go to my neck. So I'm like, oh shoot, like something's about to go down. And it's just some little lady walking by. I'm like, oh, that took like a while. I've been here almost 2 years and it's still taking me a little bit. So
they don't say excuse me or sorry.
No. They got their crazy
like
visor on and they're just going.
Yeah,
excuse me either, man.
Like it's like in a grocery store. It happens. I get so angry because the aisle is here and I'm here just looking at a label or something cut in front of me and stand. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm about to go off. That junk is crazy. I'm standing right here. And you
they're in their own universe. They're like, I need to get that granola. I'm not even worried about this guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, different upbringings, but so what do we say? It's Akim's show to win.
Yeah, I'd say it's Akim's show. He brings the conditioning, and I think Quentin's going to do well. I think who else you mentioned is going to be
Quentin, Tim Budishim, Roman Fritz making his stage debut again.
Phil's going to do very well. It's
Phil Clayhar.
It's between Phil and Akim in the top two, if you ask me.
I like Phil, but we're talking about the guy from Jamaica, right? The Tank.
Yeah, Jamaican Tank.
I don't know. I feel like he's the last. I feel like he's letting his midsection go a little bit.
The Boston, it was out. It was distended a little bit. That was his first time with his new coach. He came into Orlando much better. Midsection was tight again, but it is his one main weak point is he keeping the. I think before I knew him, I used to call it his turtle shell because it kind of looked like Dexter Jackson when his was kind of blown out a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
But I do like him though. I was a fan from the first time seeing him was at Tampa. I was a fan from there. But his the midsection, I think if he controls that, he has a pretty decent shot.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree.
I'm excited to see Quentin's new size. Oh yeah, Kamal is definitely
Quentin he got a lot bigger.
Ooh, I forgot about Kamal too when I said top two.
Yeah, because he's gonna bring that crazy conditioning. Yeah, really mature muscle.
I would say like erase like my top two prediction. I say it's the three of them. It's the three of them.
Yep. Akim, Phil, and Kamal, top three.
Because he's a wild card right now.
Yep. Sung Cho Lee hasn't really come in very conditioned. He's big and full.
I want to see a match between him and Quentin. That would be nice.
Yeah. That'd be But outside, I don't know Classic, so apologize to all my Classic pros. Probably should have gotten some notes together on that one.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, man. Like I feel like I haven't really heard too much about like Team Timothy Closer. But like I said, that kid Valentin Petrov from Europe is really, really good. He's 23 years old, but I think that he's going to do pretty well.
I'll have to look him up. I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, Valentin. That's the thing. I don't be giving cosigns in Classic too much, but this kid looks good, man.
Okay, I see it. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. I saw him on Bodybuilders Without Borders.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah, he looks good.
And he's the only person I really know that's been announcing that they're doing it within my
Joshua
circle.
Langbein is going to be making his pro debut. Pinoy, I can't think of his name, but Joshua Langbein on Instagram. He's making his pro debut.
Oh, duh. He's coming on this show tonight with Terrence Ruffin.
Yeah,
I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy too. I like him.
Yeah.
Nice
completely. Oh, that's wrong, Josh.
He's the second one down, below you.
Yeah, below me. Yeah, I completely forgot. I spaced on him.
He's making his pro debut. He's gonna be bringing some good conditioning.
Yep. Him and Terrence should be coming on the show tonight. So I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah, he looks great. He's actually been living with Terrence this week, prepping for Tampa.
Sure.
Oh,
That's
a
pretty-
dog.
This is my one.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Is she a collie?
What was that?
Is she a collie?
No, she's actually very unique. You can't see her eyes; they're gold. She's down, Bubba. She is a Australian Shepherd, German Shepherd, Dutch Shepherd, and a Belgian Malinois.
Wow.
Very unique. And then I have a golden retriever as well. So I got two pretty dogs. We're dog people.
Okay.
We like cats. I like all animals. Love all animals.
Yeah. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs? Everybody dogs?
I'm gonna go cat.
Cat. When I joined active duty, so I've been in the Army for 11 years, but the last 5 have been do what?
Thanks for your service.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. No, thank you for your guys' service. You guys are my life force. Like when I get done, I take my uniform off and it's it's right here. So
yeah,
appreciate what you guys do. My last 5 years, I switched to active duty. And I thought I was going to be single and dating, and I was going to get a dog, and I was going to get cool hobbies. And then 3 years later, I'm married with 3 cats.
That's how my life went too.
so I'm a cat person now, but we'll see. We'll see in the future. Maybe I'll get a dog. I don't know. So me and my wife were talking yesterday. We went to a sandwich shop, and the conversation was brought up. What is a sandwich? And for me, I don't think a hot dog is a sandwich, and I don't think a burger is a sandwich, because when you go into a sandwich shop, you're not ordering a burger. You're ordering a sandwich with sandwich meat, or maybe a Philly cheesesteak. But what do you guys say? What is a sandwich?
Sandwich is lettuce, tomatoes, like you said, like deli meat, and there's 2 not buns, but 2 slices of bread.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me that's a sandwich.
It's simple, just meat with bread.
Yeah, I mean, meat, bread, cheese. I mean, you can put whatever you want on it, but the 2.
So a hot dog is a sandwich.
It has to be the bread though. You have to have the sliced bread to be a sandwich, in my opinion.
Would you guys say that a sloppy Joe is a sandwich?
Negative. No, that's a burger. No, not a burger, but it's like in a burger family.
I think I call it a sloppy Joe sandwich. I think it's because you call it a manwich, right?
Yeah, sometimes they do. That's right. I feel like it's semantics.
I don't know. Chicken sandwich, like you can get like a fried chicken sandwich, right? So burger technically is that, but not, right? And then like
you have a beef patty sandwich.
You have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with meat.
You're right. But it's called a sandwich, right?
Right.
So shit.
how specific do you need to be, you know?
Yeah, each one has to have his own umbrella. So like you said, the chicken sandwich will be under the sandwich category, but like I said, that
Like
criteria.
bun sandwich.
You know, I kind of agree with that because I think
I guess we have like bun sandwiches, and then we have like
hot dog. You don't say like hot dog sandwich. You say hot dog. You say burger. You know, or cheeseburger. You don't say cheeseburger sandwich. You know, you have a chicken sandwich. You could have like like a hoagie is a sandwich technically, right? Would you say?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Peanut butter jelly sandwich, sloppy Joe sandwich. Like if you can put the name behind it, but you wouldn't say cheeseburger sandwich in my opinion. You would say hot dog. You know, so I guess if you put the name behind it, it makes sense, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can, yeah, I like that, Justin. If you can put sandwich behind it, it can be a sandwich.
The thing is, but you say hoagie, you wouldn't say hoagie sandwich, but a hoagie kind of is a sandwich. It's a
I might say a hoagie sandwich. I don't know if I've ever had a hoagie. Yeah.
I feel like though, like I feel like a burger is like widely understood as a sandwich. So I feel like it's just a double positive to say a burger sandwich.
Yeah.
It's like the whole idea of a sandwich. It's an American thing of like using bread because we're a huge wheat export. Is like we and I think it was like the early 90s. We're trying to figure out how we can use this bread. So then they just tried to make sandwiches out of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was the 1700s or 1800s, but I think that was like the history of the sandwich.
Pretty interesting.
A very American thing. Yeah. So is pizza. I was really surprised about pizza. It was something to do with like an Italian restaurant, and they had too much foot-long subs, like baguettes and stuff. So then they started putting sauce and cheese into the baguettes, making them like because that's how my mom used to make pizzas when I was young. Was she would just take, you know, old bread she got on discount at we had a grocery store called Dick's, and like we'd go to Dick's and get, you know, a discount bread. Funny story, they had a members card called Dick's Insider. That was the membership card. It came up on the Jay Leno show. So
they didn't do that on purpose, did they?
It's a small town, like 3,000. I don't think they did it on purpose.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like the history of the pizza, I believe. But let me know in the comment section below, guys. I don't know everything. Yeah. What else? Did you guys get any good questions from the chat? I didn't see any.
I didn't get any questions.
Mm-hmm. What does a well-balanced life look like for you?
Like currently or just in general?
However you want to interpret it.
Well, currently, I mean, I don't believe, in my opinion, I don't believe balance is I don't believe I can have balance.
And be like the best bodybuilder or the best man.
Yeah, me personally, because a lot of things I cut off.
Yeah.
Family functions, friends wanting to hang out and chill. And it's not like I don't want to do those things, but it's like, all right, if I'm in prep mode.
Yeah, you got to hyper focus on things that you want to succeed.
Yeah. So some people can do it, but I can't. And then even the people who can do it, it's like, okay, what percentage of your potential have you really tapped into? So I don't know. I don't think there's balance as far as bodybuilding is concerned, but what is balance? Yeah, having a good, you know, being able to enjoy life, you know, travel, do these things, still work, and just be well-rounded overall. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. And I'd like to add too, like, it's the idea, like, I think that like you can achieve some level of balance. And I think that Shaw's actually showed that this year. Like, the truth of the matter is you do have to be very, very locked into your goals, but you also need to know when to pull back and when to give yourself a break, you know, and then when you need to turn it back on. And I think that that's healthy. I think that it's healthy if you are able to turn it off and turn it back on when you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Justin?
Sheesh. It's repeat the question.
What does a well-balanced life look like for you?
Oh shit. So for me, like
Sure.
right now, living right now as I do,
Yeah. How do you get through the day?
it's I don't know. No. I think for me, a well-balanced day or life is just being able to, you know, work and pay my bills,
Mhm.
be able to have time for my girlfriend and my dogs, see my family, get my own lifting in and my own working out in. And that's kind of it. Like, that's my balance. Like, I don't see too many of my friends anymore. Most of my friends are pretty understanding in regards to that. If I'm able to kind of see everyone once, twice a year, 3 times a year at the current state that I'm in of competing, it is what it is. But obviously make time for my family, you know,
Yep.
my missus, you know, my dogs. You know, I think balance for me is having a schedule of my day,
Yeah.
and trying to follow that as best as possible. You know, like Wednesdays is, you know, my girl and I's like one of our days off. We don't have many days off. Like, I have like, well, I mean, I still have clients on Wednesday, but like, it's kind of like I don't have clients till like 5, 6 at night. So like, I have the first half of the day off. So like, balance for me on that day is like making sure we're up early to go train. Then we can, you know, go to, you know, our pool or go see a movie. Then I'll have clients. Then we'll try to do something with the dogs late at night, because right now New Jersey's really, really hot. So the dog, they do too much with them during the day. But again, like, we're real big dog people. So like, we try to do a lot with our dogs. So like, I guess that's kind of balance for me, is really like balancing what's important to me, if that makes sense. Like, things that aren't important, like, they don't deserve that time. Or it's not that they're not important, it's just they're not like directly impacting the goal in my, or like the, you know, like what is right here, right now, in a sense, right? That's balance, I guess, for me, you know.
I think it's very healthy to have like friendships where like they understand that as well. Where you have friends who very well understand that what you're doing, you know, is something that requires that level of locked in focus. And it's healthy for them to, you know, well, obviously you can't expect this from people, but it's very healthy when they do understand that. And when you're off of prep, or when you're, you know, after your show or leading up to your show, you know, they're reaching out to you, you know, saying, hey, how you doing, man? Like, how you feeling? You know, or after your show, you know, let's do something that we would do that you wouldn't normally do when you're in prep, you know, if you can, you know, that kind of thing. Like that, having friends that understand that is very healthy as well.
It's good.
I got a question that
Sure.
it didn't come from the question box, but somebody asked me yesterday, what's a good bodybuilding weight to look jacked at 5'8"? My response was, that's not a thing, because you can be jacked. You're jacked when you're jacked. You can be 4 or 5 and be jacked, just depending on how much muscle mass. I don't know. Like he said, most people say 180, 220, 215, 240. So I don't know. Like, I thought that was a kind of a butt question.
It's funny because people ask questions like that, like being a person, you know, being at the commercial gym, people ask you questions like that every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if he's asking like style wise, like, how do you look jacked at that height? I mean, you just wear fitted clothes that, you know, hug the biceps and make the chest look good, and loose around the midsection, unless you're freaking shredded, and then wear, you know, dental floss compression shirts. I mean,
right.
I think you're making a good point there, though, Josh. The point is that, like, looking jacked is an abstract thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's abstract. So the thing is, like, I might think you look jacked at 200 pounds. Somebody who isn't as into bodybuilding might think you look jacked at 160 pounds. The point is, you know, we do this because we want to essentially, like, I guess being at our level is different, right? We don't do it because of how we necessarily want to look. We do it because of what we need to do for the division. And we don't mind looking the way that we do. But with that being said, I think that when somebody gets into bodybuilding, they're doing it to improve the way that they look, or to build confidence, or to be happy with what they see in the mirror. And I think that it's important to keep that in mind. You're doing what you need to do to look good in your standards. You know, you need to focus on that. You're not worried about what other people think looks big. You're worried about what you think looks big.
Right. Yeah. Like what your goals are, if they're not super dominant in the legs, maybe focus on arm training, and like focusing on the shirt, like wearing sleeves that hug the bicep, make the triceps look big.
People have to do what makes them feel good, like you can't, like, I feel like it's okay to ask us questions, but at the same time too, like you can't ask us like what we think, because it's not about our opinion. It's not about like what we care or don't care. It's about doing what makes a person feel good for themselves. And I think that's what allowed us to get to where we're at. We got to the point where we didn't care necessarily. Like it wasn't about being judged by our peers or anything. It was a sport for us. So it was about doing the necessary objectives that we needed to do for our specific physique. And I think that obviously, like I said, I don't think that people should compare getting in shape to what we do. But I think that if you are going to ask us, what, in a situation like that, what we think, I think it's just important to remember that you have to be happy with what you're doing and what you want to do, regardless of what we say or how we feel.
Mm. And that all comes from self-love, self-dialogue, being self-compassion to yourself, and also setting realistic goals. If you want to look like a pro, you need to have some sort of like progression, hire a coach,
full level effort, full level effort, hiring a coach, watching podcasts like this so they can learn every ounce of information. It's like if you put make notes. If you take a pro level effort into something like bodybuilding, I think that it's doable for a lot of people. But at the same time too, like I think I see a lot of people who say that they want to be pros who maybe give it a pro level effort for like 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and that kind of thing. But it's like, if you want to be a pro, you got to give it a pro level effort as a life. Like we've accepted this as our day to day, our every single day. This is what we need to do in order to just make ends meet to pay the bills. So I like that's another thing. If you want to compare yourself to a pro, you got to ask yourself if you're doing every single thing that the average pro has to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 2 hours. I've noticed that I've done 3-hour podcasts before, and they don't do as well. So I usually try to stop around 2. But in the same conversation, I've noticed that Fouad has started to trim his down. So now it's like 1:40. So I don't know. I don't know what the magical algorithm is.
You want my opinion?
Sure.
So I think it depends on the time you do have. I've been successful at watching our podcast if I'm doing cardio or stretching or something. The one instance where I was actually able to watch one of Fouad's 2-hour episodes is when I was putting a grill together. So if you got that time to spare, then I think you could. And then, or maybe even watching it, not watching, but listening as you're driving somewhere.
Yep.
That's doable as well. So, but yeah, I think an hour cap probably gets the job done. Because when you start tapping,
do you watch it in like segments? You watch like 40 minutes, and because I watch all of them all the way through, but I'm a little different.
Yeah, I've never been able to watch all of his straight through. I have to skip around, or just look at the little timestamps and see what the subject may be.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Timestamps are huge for longer podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, I use them. I timestamp all of our topics. Yeah. I've never used them to like find what people are talking about. I'll just like, if Ron Harris puts out something and it's like 2 hours, I'll watch it. Just because like I'm just trying to learn more and more about the sport. So
I got you. Yeah.
A little different.
I'll say it like this, like Josh, when you like watch podcasts like that, like you're studying, right? Like you're trying to.
I have a Google Doc open and I write down like interesting topics.
Yeah, like
or if I hear something, I'm working while I'm working.
Yeah, like you're doing like I'll call it film study. Like you're doing real life film study. And the difference is, when you do film study, you want to hear every single thing. You want to get everything that you can get out of it. But when you're just listening to a podcast, like you just want to hear what's relevant to what you want to hear right now, type of thing. So I feel like it's important to have both. It's important to have the timestamps, in the flash, the flash keywords, but it's also important to have the long drawn out conversations where people can, fully understand. Like some people just want to learn more about our mentality, the way we think, and they want to just hear about, the way that we I guess you could say come to conclusions or to figure things.
Yeah, figure things out, the way you work through a thought. I mean, you can't do that in 60-second snippets. You need like a long format to really think through, what will an athlete rep do? How would, divisional athlete reps help bodybuilding? Those aren't 60-second clips. Those aren't TikToks. Those are podcasts.
Yeah.
Life. I call TikTok fast food. It's fast food because it's quick. It gives you what you want real fast, and then you get to move on. But if you want to, delve into a content or delve into, a topic, you have to lock in and you have to be focused on it for more than 60 seconds, 2 minutes. You got to be locked in.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's end it there. Let's go around the horn. Lamar, you want to plug your sponsors, your affiliates, your coaching?
Yeah. Well, my Instagram page. Oh, I can't even think right now.
I got you.
Yeah, Mr. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Mr. Shaw _ IFBB Pro. Current sponsors or affiliates, local Felton Fit Meal Prep. That's where I get my protein, my chicken, and my fish from. I just recently partnered up with Restore Hyper Wellness. It's a cryo place, infrared, red light therapy, compression boots, the IV drips. So they do all of that recovery type deal. So I just partner with them. And then just your small discount from my local supplement store, All Pro Nutrition. All these places can be found, if not in my bio, in one of my photos, I tag them in. But yeah, that's currently it for now, but definitely trying to get more sponsorships and help in this bodybuilding journey. But that's it. Yeah. So Mr. Shaw _ IFBB Pro for Instagram.
Absolutely. Jared, you want to hop on?
Sure. Yeah, guys. My Instagram is Jared Keys Bodybuilding. Just my name. In terms of the different things that I do online coaching at jaredkeys.com. That's just my name.com. And I also do local personal training. If anybody's in the 757 Virginia area, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Suffolk, Portsmouth, all those places like that, I actually personal train at One Life Fitness. So you guys can see my coaching page right there. It's actually the Key Strength Conditioning. I coach athletes. I coach, people all levels. Anybody looking to get into shape, I can help you out. Recently, you guys can see my athlete Erica. She just won an overall at the Atlanta Pro AM. So I work with bikini competitors. I work with everybody. Everybody always asks me, "Do you work with bikini competitors?" I do as well. But in terms of sponsors, guys, I work with 3 awesome companies right now. 3 amazing companies. I'm with Chula Wear. She makes the best posing trunks, the best classic physique posing trunks, the best men's physique posing trunks in the whole game right now. And then I'm with Evolve Telemed. We do hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and different types of treatments for anybody looking to improve their health. I highly recommend everybody get their blood work drawn at least a few times a year so that you're aware of what's going on the inside. That's athletes, that's regular normal people, everybody. It's important to understand what goes on the inside, because when we take control of our health, we feel better, we can get a lot more done, and we can be a lot more productive and successful. And then finally, I want to give a shout out to Gym Pen, my sponsor. If you guys are heavy lifters like me, and you like to put more weight on the bar, definitely check out Gym Pen. But you guys can, my code is Jared, and then it's Jared25 for Evolve, Jared10 for everything else. But thank you very much for the shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed. I might use my gym pin code. I don't know, but I need to get the actual gym pin for the. Is it the adductor, which is the squeezing?
Adductor, yeah.
Yeah, I've been able to max out the stack now with good reps. So I was like super excited. So I don't know if maybe I just need to like move the feet out further and make it harder, or if I want to chase that weight or not. But
you could try doing a static hold in the middle for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, or I could do some like Jay Cutlers and like hold it, and I don't know. Yeah, variety, mix up the training.
Jump in, man, because you're gonna need it.
Yeah, I probably will. I just got the angled grips, and they've been life changers. I've been like trying to post as much as I can, but you know, if they can help out on the shipping, it would make it a little bit more reasonable. But it was pretty pricey. But honestly, amazing product. So, especially if you're in the UK, check it out.
Definitely check them out in the UK, y'all.
And Justin, Aries Nutrition.
Yeah, so my Instagram is just my name, Justin Badurina. I own my own coaching and posing company, which is built by JB. So I do more lifestyle clients with that, but I pose pretty much all male divisions. So you guys can, check that out if you guys need, posing helps, tips, or any coaching in general for nutrition and training. Then I have some sponsors that do help. Liquid Sun Rays is my tanning sponsor. So I've been with Liquid since my pro debut. They're phenomenal. I'm also with Chula as well. Chula's awesome, like Jay was saying, with the trunks for any male division, really. Centurion Labs, my supplement sponsor. I've been with them for quite some time now. Awesome products. And then Aries Nutrition is the store I manage, but I'm also, one of the athletes as well. So I got a bunch of different codes in there that if you guys need anything, you guys got to check out because they're not all the same. But we appreciate the support for anyone listening, supporting any of us and any of the companies that we're with. I can guarantee that, Jared, Lamar, myself really appreciate the support. In and of itself, it means a lot. It means a lot to be able to come on this, podcast with you, Josh, and kind of talk to you, learn what you do, as well as, my other two pros that we're chatting with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my pleasure. Loved having you guys on. Jared, as always, look forward next time you come on, man. Always a pleasure to have you on. Lamar and Justin, pleasure having you guys on for the first time. Hopefully get to see you guys in the near future. Lamar, definitely Road to the Olympia series. I'll be starting that up soon. So we'll definitely have to get you back on for a panel of classic Olympians and start knocking that out. Cause there's a lot of people. There's a lot of Olympians. A lot. It's like 30, I think over 30 right now for classic
and counting.
Yep. And counting. Yeah. So yeah, guys, I'll post up the graphics in a little bit and try to get this thing edited before tonight. Cause we got Josh and Terrence coming on, so it's gonna be a busy day. But thanks for my links, guys. Discount code Sanj for everything. It's on my page. But just special shout out, Galaxy Labs has always been able to take care of me throughout the years. Small local Wisconsin company, so check them out. And then obviously Jim Pin as well. But the rest of my links are in my bio. Check them out if you guys want to support me. Please check out these athletes' links to support them. And if you need coaching, all of them are fantastic pros and coaches, so they can help you out with that as well. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know who you want to see next on the channel, and that'll do it. Please subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah, perfect timing. And then the kids start yelling.